All right, let's look at the knight to c3 variation. An unprejudiced observer is likely to think this is the most natural move in the world. But to a player who has avoided the Nimzo-Indian just one move ago by playing knight to f3 instead of knight to c3, this is not self-evident at all. Nevertheless, white has a very good reason for playing this move. If black now plays for bishop to b7, a3 will bring about the 4a3 line without white having to been bothered by bishop a6. But what if black plays the Nimzo-Indian move, bishop b4? White now has the opportunity of turning this into an independent variation by pinning the f6 knight, bishop to g5. Now that black has committed himself to a b6 setup, he will not be able to react to this pin the same way as against bishop to g5 in the Nimzo-Indian proper. Bishop b7, e3, h6, bishop h4. We have arrived at the key position in this line. Black faces a crucial choice. White is practically challenging him to play g5, bishop g3, knight to e4, which breaks the pin against the f6 knight, and at the same time looks like an attractive way to take over the initiative. But in reality, this variation makes enormous demands on both players. After queen c2, bishop takes c3 check, b takes c3, d6, bishop d3, f5. A critical situation arises. Black's initiative is very threatening indeed, and white has to fight back quickly. The move that keeps him in business is d5, a pawn sacrifice disrupting black's pawn formation. Now it is black who has to be careful. Accepting the sacrifice is risky. E takes d5, c takes d5, bishop takes d5 is met by knight to d4, queen f6, f3, and white takes over the initiative. Theory considers that knight to c5, or even the pawn sacrifice, knight to d7, to be a better choice. Black's chances in this very complicated position lie in his opponent's shattered pawn formation on the queen side. White hopes to expose the vulnerability of the black king by attacking moves like knight to d4 and h4. These complications are not to everyone's taste. Those who prefer a quieter game usually plays bishop takes c3 check, b takes c3, d6. A slower but much more solid variation. White will try to set up a strong pawn center by playing knight to d2 and perhaps f3 followed by e4. Black will react with e5 at some point.